Hello guys, welcome to Learncity. I am Auraqule. In today's video, we're going to be starting a software development series. Now, you will agree with me that there has been a rise in tech demand and interest in tech. Companies, we have a lot of companies who now have demands for tech and tech service. And that brings us to a point where the reality is that the demand for tech enthusiasts and professionals is rising every day. And in this video, I'll be walking you through the web development roadmap. What are those basic things? What is that step? What is that process that you need to go through to become a web developer? Now, most people do not understand what it takes to become a developer. Most people have begun but are still skeptical about their knowledge. Some are still doubtful. Some are not yet sure about their capacity. And the essence of this tutorial is to be able to take you from the level where you are currently and to translate you to that point where you can beat your chest and say, yes, I'm a web developer. Okay. And as we all know, the web is divided into two major aspects that we all know about, that we should all know about. And that is the front end and the back end. The front end has to do with the aspect that the user has to see and interact with. The client side, the back end is more of the server side aspect of all of those. So for anyone who wants to become a web developer, now this video is made specifically for the roadmap to become a front-end, a web front-end developer in 2022. Now, the first thing you need to understand is the fundamentals. And the fundamentals, when I speak about the fundamentals, I'm talking about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because we cannot speak about web without making reference to HTML. Every web page is rendered, every website we have, or every web page is rendered with the help of HTML. So HTML is what gives the structuring, and we have the CSS that comes to give the aesthetics, the look. CSS gives the look and the feel of a web page or a website. And then after you've mastered HTML, you want to have a good wrap of HTML. You want to have a good wrap of CSS. You want to have understand the basic concept of what it means to structure a website, what it means to style it, to a particular feel or to a particular look that you or your client desire or demand. And then after you've mastered HTML and CSS, you want to have, if you want to start going deeper into CSS, you want to start touching and learning things like CSS frameworks, things like Bootstrap, Tailwind CSS that we have now, and all of these technologies, as they're called, Tailwind, Bootstrap, are made. The primary assignment of these technologies is to be able to help you as a front-end developer come up with something fast, something amazing, but in a short period of time, something amazing. So you are not thinking about how, so it saves you the time and it saves you the complexity involved in building, somewhat taking longer time and all of those. But with the help of CSS frameworks like Bootstrap, Tailwind CSS, and there are so many more out there, it helps you to narrow down your work process if you want to do something and all of these things are relevant depending on what you are working on the project you are working on currently. You should know that these are my recommendations for 2022. These are my recommendations. And the goal of this is to make you outstanding and to make you superb, to make you stand out in the competitive market. Okay, so after having all of this idea, the next thing you want to, spend your time and really lay hold on is JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is a programming language. It's one of the most popular programming languages that ever exist and that still exists now. The goal of JavaScript is to be able to write programs. Now, JavaScript has become very, very relevant in our present day technological advancement. Now we have people, it is used for the web, for web apps, web pages, websites. It's used for those who write and build mobile apps and iOS, platform compatible apps. That it's used for React Native, and for those who build desktop apps. They also use JavaScript for Electron. And so after you've mastered the fundamentals, the HTML, CSS, you want to start wrapping your head around JavaScript. Now, it's a programming language, like I said earlier, and which means once you've mastered JavaScript, if you ever have a need to learn a new programming language, the approach is very similar. Now, programming is quite demanding, but at the same time very easy. It depends on the mindset you come with and how you position yourself, to adapt to changes and adapt to new features and to adapt to new concepts as seasons and timing goes by. So once you're able to wrap your head around HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you want to start moving into frameworks, JavaScript frameworks. Like there are three most popular JavaScript front-end frameworks. We have the most popular one, which I personally prefer, not for any particular reason, but it's just my preference, which is React. We have React, we have Vue, we have Angular. Now, Vue and Angular are also good front-end frameworks, but for the sake of preference, for myself, I prefer working with React. So once you've mastered HTML, CSS, you have few understanding of how SAS works. Maybe you want to come up with something very fast and quick. You want to understand how front-end CSS frameworks work, like Bootstrap, Angular, to just have basic understanding of how this thing works, so you can quickly come up with something when the need arises. And then once you're through that, you want to migrate to a programming language proper, and JavaScript is my recommendation. And JavaScript actually is a web programming language that every front-end developer must know in 2022. So this is my front-end roadmap to becoming a web developer in 2022. The next video, I'll be showing you what the roadmap to becoming a backend developer. If you are excited to become a front-end developer, like this video, share and subscribe. And thank you for viewing. Thank you for watching.